this kind of thing. So I've been working on the campaign for my game, which is like harder to show regular updates of without being like, hey, like don't bother playing the game because you know the whole thing. So I'll show a little bit, but I won't spoil too much. There's a lot of systems going on here, and for those who aren't aware, I'll probably just like, I guess I'll jump into a match. This is new. This is like preamble briefing stuff where you kind of get to wall of text to you, but you get to skip it if you don't feel like reading all of that stuff, instead of bombarding you at the beginning with like a super duper long cutscene that you won't want to watch. Yeah, so this game is turn-based. The original vision for the predecessor to this game was that I wanted Fire Emblem, but PvP. Like you can play competitive with other folks. That's kind of a niche of a niche, though. So while there is PvP support in this game, I'm also working on like a full campaign story mode kind of thing. And so the stuff that I'm working on right now is more of that story and like building out that campaign and stuff. So before you start a match, you can deploy your units in whatever order you want.
Can you pet them?
You can pet the dog.
Yes.
In fact, I'll show you. Yeah, so now we have cutscenes where we can like follow characters, and they have like a very interesting story that's you shouldn't read it because you're going to read it again when you play this game. It's awesome. But yeah, so as you can probably immediately see, you see like your range of motion, and then at the edge is like your basic attack range. So this is like your effective threat range. So over here, like this goblin is inside of this red square, which means I can walk up to him and smack him. And every character class in the game has their own series of special abilities. There's no mana system or cooldown system for any of these abilities, so you can use them whenever you want. The real difference between skills is that there are some skills that are free actions and some skills that will end your turn. Like a basic action is one that would end, basic attack would be one that ends your turn. You can see which ones are free by the green highlight and the extra information here. So you can chain together as many green actions as you want and then use a white action to end your turn. Which allows for some really interesting stuff that I can't show you right now in this specific scenario, but there's some cool stuff. So there's also some like position-based stuff. So there's a context menu that opens depending on the kind of things that you're around. If you think of it like a Legend of Zelda thing, like the A button gets replaced with whatever thing you can do in that position. This is like a similar sort of deal, but there might be multiple things you can do in one area. So here, because I'm next to the dog, I can pet the dog. And then the dog will give you a luck bonus, which affects that combat stat. Yeah, yeah, that's it. This is the only character that has like you can stand next to me and then just like get something. There are other characters like during the campaign. So for example, in this mission, in the campaign, I'm going to be drip feeding you like the new classes and stuff. So every mission you get will introduce like a new character in like the first act. So in this case, the archer is the one that you can recruit here, and he has a big "please recruit me" thing on him, and he has a bunch of abilities and stuff. These context menus are pretty nice for understanding like what you're going up against. So this is contextual too. So this shows you, because it's an AI unit, it'll tell you like the kind of things that this AI unit can do. And if you want like more detail, you can drill into like what are the kind of things that it's capable of doing. These are in like a rough priority list. It doesn't mean they'll always issue in that order, because some of these are conditional. But it'll like fall through to like the subsequent actions further in the list if it can't accomplish one of them. So for player units though, if you check them, instead of showing like unique AI abilities, it'll tell you like your abilities and your different skills and stuff. So the things that are in the action that you do when you make actions. Yeah, so a big component of this game is you want to accomplish different objectives, but the objectives are contextual based on the map you're playing. So in this map, it's pretty straightforward: rout all enemies, just kill everybody. There are more interesting sorts of. This is an early mission, so I try to keep the objectives straightforward. But as you progress, the objectives can become more complicated and actually like stacked. So you can actually have some missions where you may have multiple conditions, like this one.
Can you change the color of the dog or the breeds of it?
No, there's only the one dog for the story. It's a specific dog. So. During certain missions, some characters will be required during the campaign, and others are optional. So when you have the freedom to choose, this is actually me kind of time traveling a little bit because I'm playing an older mission after I've already unlocked some characters. The game will let you play old missions, but if you do, you will not earn experience to unlock new abilities if you do a replay. So it's not canon, is the idea. And characters that you will unlock on the map will not be available for draft because I need to have like a copy of that character on the map, which would be kind of weird. And there are some story elements and stuff like during the cutscene, there are some characters who I force because during the opening cutscene, for example, this guy has to say this thing, and other people have to say like their lines. Oops, so there are things that I need to make sure are there, but I give you a little bit more flexibility if you want to like change up your army from match to match. And later on, as the story becomes less character focused and more grand, you'll have a lot more freedom with like the order and like types of units that you bring into each match. But yeah, I built like a whole custom cutscene. This is in monogame, by the way. There's no engine. This is like built from not quite scratch. I'm not like an OpenGL psycho, but there's monogame is like a framework that gives you APIs for like render loop, drawing stuff to screen, audio, controller inputs and stuff like that. But it's not like Godot or Unity where you can see what you're working with, import a mesh, and then just like play with stuff in an editor and like link nodes and stuff. You kind of have to roll that yourself. It's basically all code.
Very impressive.
Yeah, so in order to accomplish some of the things that you really do want to be able to like put stuff down and manipulate all that stuff, I actually import stuff from Tiled, which is a map editor tool that's free and open source and really awesome, and you should try it if you haven't tried it, because it's better than any of the tile editors in those engines you use, probably. But the downside is, so here I have like tile sets and junk. How am I doing on time before I go
2 minutes 30.
All right, I'll try to be brief. Yeah, so I have like all of these tiles and junk that I can use to build my different maps, and then I have some additional like weather tiles and stuff as well if I want to make some maps more dynamic. So I have like I can make, there's a whole bunch of different cool stuff that you can do with tile, with like painting maps and junk. This is a map that has like some lightning. The lightning is literally just a black square that is semi-transparent that sometimes turns gray. And then it just looks like lightning, which is cool. There's a lot of cool little tricks you can do with like pixel art and like tile sets and stuff that I think are really fun. But maybe I'll save that for another time. Yeah, so here's like what the tile set looks like. This is like the main tile set, and then I have a handful of other ones. There's a whole bunch of like UI icons and stuff I've had to make. The primary art, for anyone who's wondering, originally comes from the WonderDot asset pack. This is where a lot of the terrain and some of the monsters come from. And then there's one hero sprite that I actually have since changed. But so I worked with that as a base, and then I learned pixel art, and I expanded upon it a whole bunch to the point where I now have like 14 different primary like character classes that you can play. If I go into here, you can move this guy around. If you want.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so this is like the main roster of characters that you can play. The dog is not part of the primary roster. He's like a cool story mode exclusive. And there's some additional character roles and stuff too that I intend to add, but not all of them will be available in the like skirmish maps as opposed to the campaign, because this is intended to be like competitively balanced is the idea. But yeah, we have 14 primary character classes here, and each one of them has like their own set of like unique skills that they can synergize with each other and integrate with, which is really cool. And that's it.
Favorite character.
My favorite character? Oh, I love them all so much. They're all my babies. That's probably Charlie the dog. Yeah, it's gotta be the dog. For sure. Any other questions or?
What was that tile set editor called again?
It's tiled. You can find it. It's like mapeditor.org or something.
Okay.
If you're using Unity, there's also a tile to Unity.
Yes, there is an importer. I tried to use it, and it's not as straightforward as I would have liked. Yep.
Are you even show like the AI regimes and everything? Are you gonna open that up to the community and let them make their own apps?
Oh, dude, that's way too much work.
That is a lot of work.
No, mostly what I want is I want the game to be. I don't want the game to surprise you too much. So I want you to be. This game kind of comes from like my gripes with games like tabletop war games. One of my major gripes with tabletop war games is they are very dice heavy, and they focus a lot on randomness. And so you're supposed to mitigate that randomness by throwing more dice or re-rolling dice and stuff like that. And I found that just like awful because yeah, you can have like the perfect plan, you can know exactly how to execute it, and then the dice just roll a bunch of ones, and then you're just screwed. And I hate that feeling so much. So I wanted this to be like a middle ground between like Warhammer 40K and like chess. Like I want you to be able to execute on the plans that you make, which is why in this game so many characters. There's different stats here. There's like an attack stat and a luck stat. The luck stat is the dice roll, but almost every character has like 1 or 0 or 2, and usually never more than that. And then the attack stat is like flat damage. You will always do this much damage. So when you're, and I've damaged my computer. Whenever you're in a batch or whatever, you can see like a preview of the damage you're going to do, like a range, so that you can be like, okay, do I want to take the risk on taking out this unit, but I might not do it, or do I take this action where I'm guaranteed to win, and then I have one less thing punching me in the face. So yeah. Yes.
When's this coming out on Steam?
This is coming out on Steam when it's done.
Yeah.
I was.
You can wishlist it though.
You can wishlist it, so please go wish. There's a demo with this. This map is one of the maps in the demo, so if you want to play it, check it out.
All right.
Superstar Strategy is the title. Yeah, and it's available on Steam. I do have intentions to port it to Switch eventually, but right now I want to get the game done before I start trying to put it out there. Yeah. Thank you for your time. Oh, sorry.
Sorry. What program do you use to create it?
So as I mentioned earlier, there's a framework for C#. It's called Monogame. It's an open source extension of what used to be Microsoft's Xfinity framework. I don't recommend it if you're not an experienced programmer, because it's very, very programming heavy, and there's not a lot of like tutorials and stuff for it, because it's very like just do it the way you want it. Like it's very just like go run with it. So if you want to like make something from scratch, you can make something pretty rudimentary. But like doing any of these like menu systems and stuff like that, that's me. That doesn't exist. So if you want to do that kind of stuff, it's a lot of work up front. If I was making this game today, I would be making it in Godot and not Monogame. But I've invested so much time and effort into working with Monogame that it just made sense for me.
Good old technical debt.
Yes.
Something cost fallacy.
All right, I think I'm taking up time from someone else, so I will take care. If you want to check out the game or come talk to me later, feel free.